Alright guys, I'm going to show you how to do something that you might find worthwhile, and that is to hot rod your reel out with some orange seal Boca bearings. Really curious to see how much performance improvement I get out of this. So I've done some cast testing, some pre-testing with this reel here. This is an Abu Garcia STX Revo. And I know how far I can cast with it like it is with this certain jig and trailer. Got a big field behind me. I just stood, there's no wind. Stood out there, launched it about 3 times as far as I could. Pretty much got the same distance every time. So I got that spot marked off. Gonna put these orange seals in. See what kind of difference it makes, and I will let you know how much further I was able to cast and just give some general commentary as far as the feel and everything. So here we go. Alright, first thing I'm going to do, take the side plate off. Pretty simple design there. And we're going to take the spool out. I have to wiggle a little bit here. The braid's getting caught, so there you go. Alright, we got a bearing right inside of there. Alright, so what you need to do, there's a little like spring-loaded little lock thing. You want to get something really sharp. You can use a little knife like this. I'm going to try it with that. But hold your finger down. I'll show you what it looks like after. Hold your finger down, because once you let it go, you don't want it springing off. So cover part of that bearing with your finger, and you'll see the little wire. You just want to edge out. And I've got it loose. Let me show you what that looks like. Right there, that's all it is. It's super thin. Be really careful with that, because you do not want to lose that. Just set that aside. Okay. I'm going to try to pop the bearing out. So this is an old bearing. You don't need it. You don't have to be too careful with it. Just kind of use whatever you can to pick and pry it out. There it is right there. Sometimes you just have to shake it a little bit and it comes out. This is the original bearing. Seems to be in good shape. Nothing wrong with it. Old one, I'm going to put it right there. So we don't need the side plate for a while. I'm going to set that aside. And let's see if we can take out the other bearing. We may need to get another tool for this. Okay, so in order to take the bearing off the spool shaft, you'll see there is a little pin right there that actually is what drives the spool when it hits those gears there in the middle, those slots. We got to get that off to remove the bearing. So you want kind of a wide grip pliers. You don't want to do this with little teeny pliers. What you want to do is you want to push down on the thin side. This little rod that goes there on the spool shaft, one side has a smaller circumference than the other. So you want to push the thick side out by squeezing down on the thin side. So just be careful here, because you don't want to bend it. What am I doing wrong? Here we go. There we go. You may have to experiment with which direction your pliers face. You just want to squeeze down, it pops it right out. You'll kind of hear it snap. Go ahead, it might be hard to grip and pull with your hands, but just want to pull that thing out. There it is right there. Set that aside. Keep track of all your parts. There's the other old bearing, so that's going to come off. Now, what I really like, can't wait to see these babies in action. We're going to replace them. So you notice they're 2 different sizes. It's pretty easy to match them up. So we're going to start with the one that came on the spool. Right there. Let's put the pin back on. You're going to insert it through the thin side. Right there. You want to get it started by hand actually. There we go. Same deal with the pliers. Holding this crescent style here kind of upside down. And squeeze. You may have to squeeze pretty hard. It's a pretty tight fit. A lot of resistance. There it is. There it is. Now, remember the other bearing? Let's take that one out. Okay. This is real easy. It just drops right in the hole, just like so. And the little retainer spring. Set that in there. Okay, you can work one or two of those little points. It kind of has a hexagonal, like a broken hexagon. There it is. I got it in. Actually, I was able to wedge it in with just my fingers. Now you can barely see it. It is in there, and those little points kind of snag around the rim just outside of that bearing, and that's what keeps it secure. So that's it. I switched the bearings. Put the side plate back on and screw this back. Make sure it's kind of snug. You don't need to over tighten or anything. There we go. Okay. Not bad. It sounds different. It sounds a lot different. You kind of hear the ceramic sound, but that feels really smooth. So just kind of break them in. Get them warmed up. If you really want to see what it's like, just back off your cast control. I'm going to have to test the distance now. I'll let you all know how it does. Alright guys, I got some post-test results here. I got the brand new orange seal Boca bearings in my Revo STX, and I gotta say I wasn't real impressed at first, because the first test cast I only had about 2.5, almost 3 feet extra distance. So I said, well, that can't be right. So I did it again, about 3 feet. I was like, oh no, this stinks. How am I going to put this out here and recommend it, right? But don't worry, because the third and fourth and fifth cast, it gets better and better and better. Next thing you know, I was up to 9 feet, then 13 feet, and then by about the 7th or 8th cast, 22 extra feet. So these things really do need like a little break-in period, because they just got better and better. I mean, if I go out there right now, who knows, 30 feet, I don't know, but it just started getting exponentially better there the more that I cast with it. So I really like these bearings. They don't sound like they're going to be better, because they're sort of that ceramic hiss, but don't let that fool anybody. This is a great product. It's going to really hot rod your reel out and help you achieve that extra distance that you need to, you know, cover more water, catch more bass. That's what it's all about. You know, if you're like a co-angler, sometimes you're already at a 22 foot disadvantage, you know. It's going to really help you have that extra casting distance, kind of help you compete a little bit more when you're in the back of the boat. Not that you need to be competing against your boater, but, you know, just allows you to reach the targets that you need to reach. So, but I mean, boater, co-angler, this is a great product. You know, sometimes on those windy days, you just, you know, it's tough, but it's really, really smooth. My spool just, it keeps wanting to spin. I mean, like, I keep waiting for the lure to hit the ground or to hit the water. And you have to wait a little longer because that thing will sail through the air. So I'm very impressed. I'm now a Boca bearings man. I can definitely recommend these with gusto. So fish strong, everybody.